Let's give 5 minutes to wait for them. A little bit of introduction. Remember to stay mute during the presentation. We will have a Q&A session in the middle. Also, if you have any questions during that, you can always use the chat. You can start to use the chat now to tell us a little bit about where you come from and what would you like to see us coding today. Remember that we did a webinar 3 weeks ago. For the ones that didn't join, I will show you later when more people join where to find all the recording and the presentation. So let's wait 5 minutes for all the participants to join.
Ama sen alabiliyor musun?
İşte
Çıktı bir şey ama.
Welcome everybody to the second series of webinar about HP Otto. My name is Camilo, and today we will be talking about coding. So we will go very deep into all the WebCode ecosystem we have prepared for our little robot. For the ones that didn't join us in the first webinar, if you sign up, I'm pretty sure you already got the recording. You know, I'm going to show you where you can find more information, and I will be mentioning during this webinar a little bit of what we were talking. It was mainly an introduction about Otto and everything that you can find already in our website, with some surprises, of course, that we also incorporate in this webinar. So welcome again, everybody. A little bit of rules as before. Please stay mute during my presentation. If you have any questions, you can always use the chat anytime, and we will go through them at the end or at the middle. You are also welcome to participate and to unmute yourself once we are in that session. I will go through the agenda so like you can see an overview of what we will do in this hour. So right now we did the intro and welcome. We will go directly into the WebCode ecosystem of Otto. We will do some demos. We have here a bunch of different configurations. We can try the different apps. Different to last time, we did the Q&A at the end. This time we will have that break as a Q&A to have a little bit of breath and to have the questions of like the WebCode ecosystem, which is already very complex. It's a lot of things that we can look at it. And today I will try to at least go into the most important stuff so that you can always try at home. There's a lot of stuff that it can be also used without the need of the robot. So that will be very interesting for many of you that maybe don't have the robot or haven't decided to get one. We have a game about coding, which also you can try later. A little bit of opening of some stuff we are working behind the scenes in terms of AI. So we have a little bit of experiments and extensions that we want to incorporate with Otto. So we'll give you a little bit hint, projects made by the community even. And then at the end, we will give you another space to share your experience. So this time you will have two opening gaps where you can, you're free to join us. The intention of this is to be very participative. And then we'll do some closure and what will be the next webinar about. So let's just jump into it. For the ones that remember in the previous webinar, we jump into the three pillars of education that we have that are create, connect, code. Today, we focus on the coding part, right? And that's why it's like a coding webinar where we will go through the different apps, icons, words, the text programming with MicroPython, compatibility with Arduino. So we will play a little bit with them here with the robots. And you are welcome to comment if one of the robots that you see on my table or you will see eventually you want me to try it and show you how we can code it, for example. We also have different types of devices that are not only robots. So it will be very interesting. So let's go in. I'm gonna here jump into the website to give a little bit introduction for the people that missed the previous webinar. No worries. If you go here, right here, you can see it in purple, get the recording. You put the email and then you submit and you can get the previous video, the presentation we did, so you can like stay updated. Stay tuned. There's nothing that I'm going to mention today that will require you to like be in the previous one. Of course, you will know more and you will know better about the robot, but it's gonna be very simple, very beginners type and easy to follow. Like I don't intend to have any complicated technical terms, and that's why we welcome you to ask any question, like no worries. Okay, so that was in the webinar page, that the same one that you guys sign up, you can get the recording. For the ones that already were emailing, yes, we are also recording in this one. Everything we will be shared by the end or this day or tomorrow, it depends. We will see. So jumping into the coding, if you go to our website, we have a code section for that. The code section gives you a little bit of introduction of the apps we have. So as I was mentioning before, we have the icons, which are a very minimalistic and simplistic set of commands that don't require to read for the students in order to create simple sequences, simple conditionals even in the robot. Then we have the words, which is like the one we will be using the most because it has more rich set of blocks and features. Plus, it has also the text editor inside. So it's actually the words, I will say that it's like a two-in-one app because it also has MicroPython incorporated. Then we have the remote also, which it could be also the first one. It's a very playful way to interact with the robot and to just test the commands from your device. We have also the simulator, which is kind of like a parallel to the words one, where if you don't have a robot, you can go and open it now, and you can play with the web blocks and start to see how, or to try a little bit how to learn the code. And so this one, it's free for everybody, will be your first souvenir from the webinar. So you can get it and have a try. We will be basing this WebCode ecosystem like trip by opening our open coding guide, which also is accessible. I will go through it. So this coding guide has like a very perfect introduction of all these programming tools we have. So what is WebCode ecosystem? What can Otto be programmed with? What are the languages you use? So as like many other programmable robots, the programming, it's graphical, and that's where icons and words apps come in. So this is based on Scratch, which is very popular in schools, and Blockly. At the end, they are the same. It's a set of simple blocks that are connected together like a puzzle, and we tell the robot what to do. The advantage we have is that parallel, and instantly we can see the text code, what is really happening, and that text code is the real programming that a professional is doing in a different field. So we have a MicroPython. MicroPython is like Python, but small. It's like a minimal version of Python for microcontrollers. That's where the micro word comes from. So micro is like a Python for microcontrollers, which the microcontroller, it's basically the brain of the robot, right? It's like when you have a CPU in a computer, that's a different type of processor, but like the one that the robot uses a microcontroller, and we can program with the MicroPython language, which is based on Python, the very popular programming language. Otto, for the ones that know the history of Otto before, when it was before HP, was mainly Arduino. And here I want to give a little bit of background for people to know why we made that switch from Arduino to Python. A switch that we made just in terms of content, meaning that actually the new robot can use both programming languages. So still we have the Arduino possibility, and I can show you at the end, but Python is easier to learn. It's been getting more popular and it's much faster. So in order to have a very smooth learning for everybody, Python, we approach Python, MicroPython as the main programming language, but doesn't mean that you cannot use C++, which is the programming language used in Arduino, for example, and other applications. So in the guide, we have a little bit of what is the compatibility you can use. One of the things of our apps that they are web-based. That comes with a lot of benefits, mainly benefits that it doesn't need installation. It works in almost every computer. Just have to be careful of what browser to use. So here we have selected browsers. Chrome will work anywhere, including iOS devices. Edge also works in terms of USB and Bluetooth, but Mozilla, Safari, those ones won't work. This is because they have not enabled the USB apps. Now, maybe there's some plugins, some third-party things to make them work, but that's not for us to worry. Everybody is independent in that sense. In terms of tablets, it's similar, but then here it's very important. USB is not possible to use in tablets because like you don't have the USB connection there, right? But it can be used in the Bluetooth programming mode. And for iOS, the tricky part is that you need the BlueFi because it's the only browser or one of the only ones that allows the Bluetooth connection to the device. So if you have an iPhone and you want to use the remote control app, you must install BlueFi. That's kind of the only limitation, let's say. But we are also working on an offline version that is you can install mainly for desktop computers or laptops, which we already have for any of our users that already have a kit. We can send them the installation package, but that's not something we have available online because it's kind of exclusive. Here we go a little bit in detail of the applications. We did mention this a little bit in the previous webinar. We have like a very small learning curve. We start with the icons. The icons for me, it's like the icebreaker of coding. So anybody that would be afraid of coding, you show them icons, and then it's like, oh, this is a game. So that's what we're gonna show later. Actually, we can jump right to that. Before that, I just wanted to show that, yeah, you slowly go up. Doesn't mean that you can jump directly into one of them. It depends of your experience with programming, your experience with robotics. But this is what we suggest, and it's always to take small steps to avoid making some mistakes. Okay, so going into the icons, like any of our web applications that you can access to through our website, you will have some onboarding. The onboarding will explain you how the interface works. Now, this is also in the guide, so no worries. You can also have it like if you want to print the PDF or something. So we have the language, which in the case of icons is not very relevant because there's no text in the blocks. Nevertheless, there's some messages sometimes, and those ones you can change. We have the new button just to create a new project, delete everything, open to open any kind of, no, not any, like specific projects from the specific app. The extension is that Otto. So for example, if I want to open one of the codes, I need to make sure that it has the extension, and I need to make sure that it's from these icons applications. I will show you later that. We can put a name to the project. We can save the project. It will download to your device. We have the two modes of connection in a switch. So with this switch, I can select USB or Bluetooth, and we will give it a try later. Here is the click for actually connecting with the USB. So then you click there and you follow. The run button, super important. This one is for instant and like on live programming. What it means is that this quickly test the code in a matter of seconds in the robot, and you don't need to wait until like saves it into the robot or compile it. This is one of the benefits that it came with the MicroPython, because with Arduino you need to compile before the robot has the code on it. With MicroPython, we just save the code, and I will show you later. I can even see how many codes the robot has on it. Meanwhile, with Arduino, you can only save one code, and then it just stays there. And you cannot see the code later. It's a bunch of binary numbers. We have the stop button to stop the code from running. Examples, which we will use in a lot. So you click there, it's a little like getting started examples. Settings for navigating to other applications, updating firmware, updating libraries, also very important. The actual workspace. So we have like some center and zoom buttons, which you can also use with the scroll of the mouse. The trash bin, which you can delete just drag the blocks and delete them there. The start block that is present always in every app. The actual blocks. So you will notice here we will be dragging from down to up. So we will be dragging them to the workspace. We have a distance sensor for when we use the distance sensors like data. So we will see the distance in the case of this one, and that's it. So we will jump to a couple of examples. Let's jump to the fun part. I will grab, unless somebody mentioned, I will grab this little guy here. I will connect it. I will switch it on. Now this robot probably has a demo already, and it will be doing something. And that's normal because if you save certain code before, then it will just continue executing it. Now, once I do the connection and I find the device, now Otto is like, oh, okay, you want to program me. All right, I will shut up or stop doing what I'm doing. And here I'm just browse to the icons. This is some sound, and I just play it. You see, matter of seconds, maybe it's something more visual. I will drag the lights here. So with this block, I can make the top LED ring into blue. I click play. You can see it right there. Now, we can change the color. Each block has a bunch of parameters we can modify. Again, play. It's always like that. Just change, play, instant coding to instantly debug and try different codes. We have some extra ones here. So for example, this one might look similar. You have to try it to see what it is. So this one is red, but it has some animation on the LED ring there. So as I said at the beginning, this one is so easy, so simple and basic that it just breaks any like fear to program. So here we try a little bit the motors. We can use repeat. So if I want to try some repeat stuff here, and I can, for example, do, wait a second here. All right. So I can put, for example, that for blue, I will make a change to red by adding some little timer here. I can also even just use a keyboard commands like Control-C, Control-V, and I can duplicate blocks. So this one, I'm creating here a little bit more complex here, but basically I'm just doing that everything is inside this bracket. We'll repeat 3 times. So you can see now it's doing the animation one, now blue, now the animation in red, and we'll do it 3 times. So small sequences, small commands and things we can try here. We can also use the ultrasonic sensor here, or just use the lights of the ultrasonic sensor. So these ones are very basic. These ones are meant to, I probably connected the ultrasonic sensor in another port, so that's why. Now it's in blue. Hey, in green, sorry. I can change the colors as well. So as I say, this one is meant to be very quick. Nevertheless, I mean, depends how much you want to squeeze it. You can do a lot of stuff. The examples gives a very good intro. So I just click open, and this is the similar to the one I created before. So let's try something more interesting in the eyes. So this one will turn the eyes green, and then it will do some sound, which I can also change here, for example, to sad, different emotions incorporated, then some purple, and it will do it 3 times. So we will be changing the eyes and making the sound. Right? Good. Very simple examples we have here. We have some conditionals we can try, but let's start to jump into words. So here, this was icons. Now I can go to words from here, right? Word blocks. Settings, I have the update firmware, update libraries. This is more like technicalities of the setup of the robot, which you will have to do the first time, and then you don't need to do it again. But for example, if I wanted to use the Bluetooth, I will save the Bluetooth code on the robot first. Here I can change to word blocks. I have already open. One thing to make sure is to either disconnect the robot or just to close the tab, because the robot can be only connected to one tab at the same time. So I'm just gonna close it. That will automatically kind of disconnect the robot, but just in case, I will reset the robot. And I will do the connection on this one. Connected. Now, immediately, quite quickly, I will do some little test, the rainbow effect. And there you can see. So we have some rainbow animation on the LED ring. The words we didn't do the onboarding, so I will do it very quickly. I can do here the intro tour in the settings. So very similar to the previous one, we have the language, new, open, project name, save button, the switch for the connection, the play. Until here, the same. Now we have a new button, which is the save button. Now this is a very useful, but button that we should be very careful as well, because this one just saves the main code in the robot that he will do or she will do every time we turn it on. So for example, in this robot, I already had a code that was like moving, showing some stuff in the screen, but it doesn't have the Bluetooth connectivity. So for example, this one, I cannot connect to Bluetooth until I save the Bluetooth. Now that's something that we will be doing more smooth, and the robot in the future will do it automatically once we have a new app. But for now, like, it has this procedure. We have the settings, the example, sorry, the settings, same as before. And now we have another new button, which is the Python button. And this button is really good because it will allow us to see the Python code in the robot. So we will click on that later. We have the switch to make the switch from blocks to code. And we have the kit button. And this one is also very important. I will show you later how it does. The workspace, now we have a different layout, because now the blocks are not in horizontal array, they are in vertical array. So we will be piling them down instead of left to right as we were doing in the previous one. Now that change might be a little bit odd to some, but it has a reason. Scratch had years of research with this, and they prove that with kids, you start with the icons junior first, and it has this more natural way of left to right. And then this one is mainly done because if you do from left to right, you cannot do like really good codes. So then you need this kind of organization in vertical. You will see it once you have very complex codes that have functions, have variables, have different things going on at the same time. Then this, you will see why they design it like that. Now that's kind of like more like interesting tip there. The workspace, then you have from left the categories. You can see that now we have much more options, which allow us to have more functionalities in the robot. I'll go really quickly on this one. You guys can also give it a try and just play with it without having the robot. You can always have that. We have also something new, which is the serial monitor. This is very important for the sensors. We can see in detail what the sensors are giving us to us, or we can have some variables showing us different results. And it kind of like, we can see also what the robot is doing. And that's it. So this one, we can also try with a small example. Let's check the examples. We also have a bunch of them now. So I will go for the lights all, which will show, you can see here is a good example of a big code. Now don't get scared. I kind of make a quick jump from the icons to this, but this is because it's an example. So it's a good way to show like how complex you can do. And at the end, what it's gonna do, the robot, is very simple. It's gonna cycle through all the colors in the RGB. We have the red, the orange, the yellow, and it will go like kind of in the chromatic sequence. Actually, it can be done even much simpler, but that's for another conversation. So here you can see how quickly you can like play with the examples and the different components in the robot. Going into the Python, then if I click the Python, then I can see all the code. And you can see that probably if you already know Python, you will have made it faster than in the blocks. And this is kind of like a new, like a nice way to show that sometimes, yeah, with the blocks you can go very far, but with the real text you can be faster. So that's why it's very important to kind of have both at the same time. To, okay, with blocks, almost everything can be done, but then in the actual code is what is important to really know the logic. Now, many will argue, and later we will touch the topic, that AI can do all that stuff, and yeah, but knowing to read what the AI throws is very important. And actually, we can in the other webinar, which we will do a little bit about more AI, we can go into some trials of creating Python code with Copilot or ChatGPT. All right. Here we have the switch, so I can edit it directly if I want it. In this case, I don't want it because I want maybe with something more simple that you guys can see it. Let's see. I'm trying the RGB because it's kind of the most visual one for the webinar, but I could as well do something. So I can, for example, delete this with the new, as I mentioned before. I can delete all of it, and then we can go to another example. For example, this one is with the eyes, very simple. Forever, it's a loop. It will do color lights. This one is actually in one of the lessons, so you might find it there, or maybe you already tried. It's like a police siren. Let's play it. Then we have, well, I'll put it closer. Very fast. We can change the timing, we can change the colors like before. We have a more detailed palette now. Or I can modify the code. Now this one, it's in hex. So I will try maybe with a different block. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do both in RGB. So we can do also RGB. I'm gonna drag from here. I'm gonna make it less fast. So I will increase the time. And let's change the color from green to blue. Now here I'm still just doing blocks, right? So just changing both. Maybe not so visible because green and blue, but no, it is. It's right. Now, and here is where I can go to the code. It's like, oh no, but why to use the blocks? I can just add some values here and I'm gonna change the color. So I will have the red in some point and a combination of red with blue. So you guys will know purple, very simple. I can play with those values more precisely. Maybe the palette will then allow me to make some colors that I can more accurately with the code make, right? So that's one of the reasons you could do. I could change, for example, where the ultrasonic is connected as well. So I have much more freedom in the text, and it's very simple. You can see that it's not something complicated. You can ignore everything that is up. It's just like a set of libraries. You have an ultrasonic sensor, and then you have that while it's through loop, the ultrasonic turns this RGB model for both, sleeps, meaning like it waits for half a second, and then the other color. And that's it. Like very simple way to learn. You can always call these functions in different ways if you find them more intuitive. It's also possible because the code is there. You can modify it. You can do more stuff. Okay. I think with that one, we have a good introduction for the web code. I forgot to mention here, very important. I have the selection of the robot kits. Now, this is where it comes more related to the kits you have. So here I have a combination of a starter with a mode. If you are with the starter and you don't want to have blocks that you cannot use because some of the blocks you cannot use if you don't have the components, then you click the starter. And then it will load just the workspace with the blocks you can use. So for example, here I don't have this screen anymore. I cannot do the OLED. I just have the sensors that I can use. And it makes it easier to just don't get confused. Now, why we have it like that? Because Otto is modular. This selection of the robot, it's very important for deciding what modularity I want to do or what kind of connectors I want to have. Now, for the beginners, you will just go with the ones that are pre-made. So if I have an emote, I will click here. If I have the sense, click here. Or just go with the all, and with that one, you will guarantee that you have all the options. Now here, the catch is like some of the blocks are not going to work because you don't have the components connected to it. So because nothing is happening in the robot doesn't mean that the software is not working. It's probably that the robot is not with the components that the software is utilizing, right? So for example, I can open the emote and then I will go to the display and I will tell, hey, show me this. And I play, nothing is going to happen. But if I connect this guy that we had before, then something's going to happen. Or if I connect this one that has a OLED, I can still use it. And let's give it a try, actually. So this one, it's a little preparation I did. It can show the temperature here. We have the LED, it senses the light. We can delete here, interact a little bit with the encoder, and make some sounds. This is a good like electronic test. Now here I'm gonna put some OLED. So I'm gonna connect it, and I can play these eyes here. Oh, first I need to check. So I will click play again. Right, and then I added a couple of eyes here. Right. So then now because I have the display connected, then I can play with the display, right? That's the basic. Then I can open examples that use the display, because if I open it before in a different one, it's not going to do anything. And then I can play it there. So some codes that are bigger, of course, takes a little bit more of time, but it's still quite fast. Yeah. So that's a good example. All right, so we are almost half of the webinar. I don't want to prolong too much this part. I will give a very quick showcase of the web control. So I have this little guy prepared for the web control. I'm going to take out the others to give a space. I'm going to disconnect this one. Now, this robot, you can notice it's kind of blinking. That's why it's waiting for the Bluetooth connection. So I can open the Bluetooth connection. I will select the type of the robot, and I will find it. So I will already label it as Otto Blue, and then I pair it. Now, this same procedure works in the phone. This is the only app that so far we have that also works on phone, because it's a simple online app for controlling the robot via Bluetooth. You can see that here I cannot do USB, for example, because for remote control, we just want the Bluetooth. We don't want to have a USB. You can do the same thing with the other one. So I can play with the piano here. Maybe you don't hear it from there. I can try the ultrasonic sensor. So every time I have the hand more far away or closer, then I get updates. I can, of course, play with this moving arrows. Can put it down. I can also use the keys of the computer. So here I'm playing with the keys. Then I can stop here. I can change the speed in case I want to calibrate or make it faster. Now, you might notice that here we did a little attachment to this one already, a little glimpse of what we will have in the Invent expansion that we will launch in summer. So for that one, I use one of the features of the remote control, that is that you can do widgets. So basically it works in a modular way as well. I can drag and create my own kind of interface for the robot. I can delete what I don't want, and I can add new ones. So I use the switch in this case to activate the gripper. I can also use the joystick, since it's kind of like easier to sometimes handle the robot. I will lock it, and I'm still connected. So here I have maybe I have the logic inverted. So now it's on, but it's not gripping it. So when I put the switch down, now it grabs it and picks it up there. Now I can move it around, right? Anywhere. I can use also the thumb one here. Oh, I dropped the speed here. That's why it's not moving to the front. I was like, a bit strange. All right. And then I can drop it. So this one is going to be very fun with tournaments and series of activities. Let's go for this one right here. Let's see if we can grab it. Oh, it's too small. So I will have to adjust for that one, or give it a little bit something bigger. Let's put this box here. Oh, there you go. And then you can drop it there. Yeah. So very nice way to try the robot. I can play with the lights, change the colors, but here is more immediate. Here is like remote control. That's the reason to do different types of activities. So with that, we kind of cover everything from the WebCode ecosystem. You can see we we're playing with 3 of the apps, the icons, the words, and the remote control. So we will come back now to the agenda, and I think it's time for some Q&A, right? So now is the space. Let's give it like 10 minutes where you can ask any questions. If there's not already some questions, well, then start to type them. I will check then the chat if I see any questions so far. Okay, I already see some questions. I will roll it back first. So we have some people. Hello, Mitch. Hey, hi. Good to see you. Welcome again. From Indie Toys Istanbul. Hi, Inak. Good to see you as well. A lot of good friends that we met in helped to bring this project to life. Other ones that are our partners. So it's good to see you guys all here. Leo from Vita Science also. Nice. Thank you. Okay, first question from Jiri. How do I find out the version of firmware and library installs in my Otto? Very good question. So I will come back to WebCode words. I will make sure this guy is disconnected, even though it's Bluetooth, should not interfere. I'll turn it off. I will pick, let's check this guy. What is the firmware? Okay, so ideally in WebCode words. It can be done in different ways, but here I'm going to check. Now, the app, if you guys noticed when I was connecting, and maybe it will show again, when I'm connecting with USB, this is very important. It has to be with USB. So it says that it's connected, and sometimes it kind of like confirms the firmware, like the version that it is. If it doesn't show you the pop-up in the serial monitor, if you guys check here, you can see MicroPython version 1.22.2. Now, that's the latest one. How do I know it's the latest one? Not only because I know, but if you go to the update firmware, which is here, version 1.2, which is the same, it's here, you can see that is the same number. So that already confirms. Just in case, when you are in the firmware page, you could see the publish date and you could see the same number. So if this number is the same as the one in the serial monitor, then yes, you are updated. And if not, then you can see. Now the libraries, very good question again. I forgot that part. So for the libraries, I have to come back to WebCode. Notice that I have to connect again because I went out. I should have opened it in another tab, but not a problem. I can do it quickly. I can see here that even this one is missing some libraries. So it can tell me immediately, like if there's something missing, and then it can update them here. So that was one way. The system is already programmed to tell you that something is missing. And if you are of curiosity, you can also check files in Otto. Remember when I told you before that MicroPython, here, now I have the pop-up. It's getting a little bit delayed maybe, but I can see that now it's connected and the MicroPython is the correct version. If it was, for example, 1.1 or 21, then it would be like, okay, like you need to update, and then it will force you to update. So it's automatic now. Now we can go in detail and you can see the files in Otto which have a Python extension. If you click on them, then I can see the actual code. I can see that there has the libraries there, and I can corroborate the version by seeing what is on the top. So this is the easiest way. We can use third-party IDs to also check what is on the robot, but this is very smooth using the same platform to check the libraries. Come back to the other questions. Okay. Somebody already asked. Somebody already answered. I didn't. But it's good to show. It's good to show. I open and run the project code for the line following, but for some reason does not follow the line. Okay, so what could be the reasons why the line following doesn't work? So I will go through. I know what so I didn't see the name. Tommy asked. So the line following is right here. If you go to the examples, I scroll too much maybe. Follow black line. So this is one of our favorite examples. It shows the blocks that I use. It has a small video of how it's supposed to work. And then if I click open, then I can see the code, which is also very simple. Now, one of the main reasons my not following the line is because it's light sensitive. These two values right here, this 800 and this 800, it's kind of like the borderline to detect the black line. Now you can play and increase that value or decrease that value until it finds the line. And that could be the main thing. It needs a little bit of calibration depending on the light sometimes. Or is because one of the sensors is not connected. So then you need to check the manual, check where it's connected, and make sure that everything is consistent. That could be the two reasons why it's not working. And someone already answered, Ivan, thank you. Calibration of the sensors, it's that 800 value that I said. So like now it's good that I make the show of how it's supposed to be done. So the calibration is done with that. Leo, do you have statistics regarding which interface type, icon, block, text, remote control is the most used? Yeah, we do have Google Analytics. It's kind of private, but yeah, I can tell you, like the most used is the Word one. The block text is the most used one. Icon, I would say it's in pair with remote control, but usually the block text is the most used. And then we have last question so far from Mitch. It's hard for me to remember that the UI and coding process is designed for the minds of young students and middle schoolers, and none of us grown-ups. Oh, it's a comment. It's not a question. Sorry, I thought it was. Oh yeah, we made it like very simplified in a way that people that are not into robotics or like have fear of programming can get into it. Hence the colors, hence why we have kind of like the onboarding and very delicate step by step for the very basic stuff. Nevertheless, in the text one, we plan to also incorporate more advanced stuff, you know, for the grown-ups, as you say. So for that right now, we use third-party apps, which I can browse later, like Tony IDE, which is a MicroPython editor, or Arduino MicroPython editor. And but for now, that's what it is. So here, Inax is asking, can you compare Otto with MBOT advantages? Well, it's kind of off topic. If we go in the coding one, I will say we are pretty even, like in the possibilities of what you can do. In terms of hardware, the main difference is that even though MBOT is also a building kit, which is also pretty nice, it's heavy. So we have experience because we also distributed here in Moravia that it's kind of boy-oriented MBOT. So in that sense, you need kind of like more dexterity with the screwdriver, which I'm not saying like girls don't have it, but like it kind of like the look of the car and stuff. We know that it has this tendency to have these, I don't know, like labels, people that because it has wheels, it looks like a car only, even though we also have it with Otto, it's kind of more a friendly face. So you have to deal with bigger parts in that sense that are more heavy metal, which is good, it's resistant, but then it's kind of a sturdy. That I would say in terms of hardware. MBOT has very good software as well. I will say more complex. So if you have experience, a software like that is good. If you don't have experience, a software like that is might be daunting and it overwhelms with so many options, with so many things. So you could see that ours is very simplified, very minimalistic, because we intend just to focus on the important part of coding. So I would say that those are the main difference in terms of hardware and software. But if we go into the zoom out into the more general stuff, as I mentioned in the previous one, the most unique part of Otto is the creativity part that goes in paired with 3D printed. So you can see here, with just the same similar parts, the same brain, the same battery, we can create all these robots. It's something that is not possible with any other robot. And we have more stuff going on. And then with 3D printing, we can create some goals and some kind of games around the robot. So that's something that this year we are exploring more, and you will see in our news and in our community. But this is one of the main differentiators. Here you see them all in the same color, but we were also making some limited edition last year, the Santa Otto that have different colors, different accessories you could put on top. And that's the uniqueness. So that I can say. Yeah, Ivan says that Otto also integrates Bluetooth and Wi-Fi out of the box without extra modules. I think that he's referring to the fact that Mbot 1, for example, doesn't have the Bluetooth. Mbot 2 has it, but at a higher cost. So then we are kind of like in the middle of those two, if you want to position it there. Nevertheless, as I always say, the more the merrier. If you can get both, I think you will find advantage in both. If you have to decide, well, I kind of have a bias opinion here, but that's why I can see you. My honest opinion without like being too much bias. Yeah. So good. Thanks for the questions. Questions like these are also welcome. We are almost 10 minutes at the end, and we are good on time because the other stuff I wanted to show was going to be very brief, like some eye opener for some, and kind of like you can try it at home from now on. What I mean, I will switch here to the game. So the game was accessible also from the settings. You can find it there. Maybe we can put in the chat. I will put quick link so like you guys can have a look. Now the game is a simple like series of puzzles of what you have to solve to help Otto collect batteries. It's a very simple trial we have been doing. We had it before in DIY as a farm version, and it proved to be very popular. This is for free. We do it in a way to complement the educational programming, and that's what we are mentioning in this webinar. So for example, if I want to collect those 4 batteries, I will have to try it again because I did a mistake here. I moved only 2 times. I only collected 2. So I'm going to refresh here and I'm going to start from 0. So now I can show you what is the result, but I will just first give a little bit try. So it's the same as the blocks we were using in Words, but now we have it in a video game on the right, and we can learn the same concepts, but now in a digital. So this one is very simple. I will just have a repeat, do it 2 times, and collect the 2 batteries 1 time, and then I could also do it in different ways, and that's what is interesting of this game. This game always gonna look for the least number of codes for you to get the best score. So in this case, this is the best one, and I got 3 stars. If I will use more blocks, I will get less stars, and that's what is interesting about it. Right now, because we wanted to make it without sign up, it stores the score you get in the cache, but like it might delete it if you like switch to another computer and stuff. That's because we didn't want to bother with signups or anything. Just keep it free and open. You can see that I solved the 2, and I have the score. So in the panel, I can see and we can learn different topics. So this one is a good complement. I invite you to give it a try, share in the community what you did, and if you find something interesting, let us know. Now, this is, as I say, it's a trial. It's functional. You can give it a try. One of the interesting things we have is that I can connect the robot here. Now, let me quickly check that I can do the connection. So one cool thing we're planning here is that I can also, with the same blocks here, as I am seeing the robot moving in the screen, I can make it move in real life. So it does have a different play button. Maybe we will integrate it into one, but that's kind of the idea. So of course, if I play this one, it will play the guy in the screen instead, and then it do it like that. But yeah, also with the collection of the batteries, so I can make it move 2 times and then move like that, or I can do it in the real life, and then it turns yellow. So this is something also that we're experimenting and we're incorporating the game, the AI part, and then with this one we will do kind of the closure. So we have extension with the Scratch that we have been testing for a while. I'll switch to presentation now. So we did the coding. We did the game. These are the extensions. Now it's accessible in beta. We have been sharing to some people. Just to give you a little bit background, we have been using them, but because it's a separate application, we didn't want it to make it too complicated, and we still are incorporating new features. So one of them is like you can interact with the webcam of the computer or the device and somehow like make reactions with the robot. So for example, if it detects your face, then it will light up green. If it detects an object, it will make a song. If it detects different gestures, then it will do different actions. So here are some of the examples using hand recognition. We have also compatibility with teachable machine. And just to close, but at the end of this one, something that Ivan, which is in the community, has been working, which is pretty cool, is link between ChatGPT and Otto. Now, maybe some of you in the community have seen it. While the video plays, I will tell you what it means. So basically, it's the chat of GPT, but imagine you are communicating with the real robot, and then the robot will do the actions that you ask in the chat. And everything running with the LLM API. Now, this is a demo. Like we don't intend to have something with this, but this is more to show you the capabilities of Otto. We can, thanks to the microcontroller, we can do this kind of interaction. So for example, now telling it, hey, Otto, can you show me some movements? And you can see that there's a button to run the script of the robot. So not only you're getting answers in the Otto GPT, but it also in making the robot do the movements that you are asking. So you can, at the same time that learn stuff from the robot, you can kind of program the robot in a different way that we were doing during the webinar. Now, this is very cool, and we will do a very in-depth kind of AI webinar where we will be playing with also the image generation. We will be playing with the extensions that I very briefly showed you before. And yeah, just stay tuned. That's not going to be in the next webinar. So to give a little closure here, the next webinar will be about 3D modeling and creativity, like the very uniquest part of Otto. And we will have a special guest, which is Maker's Empire. For the ones that are following us on social media, you saw we did this Bunny Easter Otto last week. They were the ones that produced it. And how we can use this application very easily, very simplified, gamified, and for kids to create in matter of minutes, things like this, to decorate the robot. So you can sign up right after the end of this one. But if you're already in this one, actually, you automatically will get the confirmation. So you don't need to resubscribe. But if you want to just like make sure that you are there, you can go to the same webinar page as always and sign up. It will be here. Just will appear like the new webinar name, and it will be in 3 weeks. So for you guys to put in your agenda, that will be the 15th of May, right? So if there's no further questions, okay. Oh, there's one more question. So Leo, okay. I will jump into the question before saying goodbye. If there's more questions, let me know. Now we are kind of like at the end, but we can still have 5 more minutes if there's enough like conversations going on. Super interesting. Coding in plain natural language is something new. Is it still called coding, by the way, or an AI agent control Otto? In this case, I will say it's more the agent, but I think if you need to know a little bit of what you want the robot to do. So this one is quite simplified. Ivan is already answering. There's a name for that, which is vibe coding. But there's kind of like a discussion online about, of course, if it's the right way to code or not. So I think the programmers are now divided with that, something that we will address then in the next webinar for sure. We will go in deep with that. Ivan will be our guest. So Ivan, hope to see you in that one. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks for coming. If there's any further questions, you can always email us, put in the forum, in any of our community channels. And I hope you like it. See you next time and have a great day.